And talking to me this morning, Sachin Bhatia, Executive Vice President, co-founder of Ameyo. The organization was started in 2003. He went entrepreneurial at the age of 43. And I'm sure it's been a real ride for him. He's a marketing enthusiast, has been a major contributor towards business development, marketing of the company's latest SaaS product, InsideSalesBox.com. And the idea behind Ameyo is to ease communication between the company and the client. Good morning. How are you doing, Sachin? Thank you for joining us on the show.
Lovely to be here, Chris, and I feel old now. I started at 23.
You started at 23?
Yes,
Why did I hear 43?
Yeah, I look old, baby.
Oh, no, you don't. You look just fine. Okay, so 23, you went entrepreneurial in 2003.
That is right.
Yeah, and Ameyo, the three of you guys came together. What were you doing before that?
So we came straight out of college, worked for a couple of years, thought India should do some products and technology, and jumped into Ameyo.
So at 23, I mean, normally someone has to get around a bit, get a feel of what's happening out there in the marketplace, in the world at large. What was happening to you guys at the age of, early part of your 20s that you all decided, okay, this is what we needed to get into?
Yeah, so one of the things that kept bothering us is why, if there are so many products being made out of India because of outsourcing, why India is not making its own products.
Right.
And we thought if we can't find an answer, it'll be pretty unsettling. So why don't we jump and try? And we have been doing it since then.
Okay, all right. So Ameyo, do tell us what was the motivation behind Ameyo?
Sure. So I think we are living in exciting times, Chris. Consumers today have many options to do the same things, and one of the things that Ameyo wanted to do was to make it extremely simple for the consumer to get in touch with the business, or business to get in touch with the consumer in context, which means if you call a call center, they shouldn't be saying, welcome to XYZ, how can I help you? They should already know they're talking to Chris. They should already know what is a possible problem that Chris might have, and give a solution instead of just answering the call.
Yeah, okay. And so what is that particular expertise that you bring in over there?
So with advent of mobile and other technologies, I think one of the things that Ameyo aims to do is, apart from traditional mediums like phone, consumers want to get in touch with businesses on phone, email, social media, chat, mobile, whatever they have right now. Right? So we enable businesses to allow their customers to get in touch with the business across mediums and in context.
Okay.
So that's what Ameyo brings.
So you set up that entire framework.
Entire framework, as well as communication happening on our technology.
Okay.
Essentially, whatever the consumer wants, whenever he wants, wherever he wants, he should be able to get in touch, and that's what Ameyo helps businesses do.
Customer is king. And, as much as that rule has been sort of spoken about like endlessly, somehow companies do have a hard time in the midst of everything that they're dealing with, right, every day. We're going to come back and talk about it right here on Good Morning Delhi. Stick around. On the other side, I got Wham with Everything She Wants. Are you guys this morning to recommend a song that he would like to hear on Good Morning Delhi, and here's the one that he came up with. Soundgarden's Live to Rise. Why?
Every entrepreneur has a child in him. I think you should always keep that child alive. This song keeps my child alive inside me, and the day that child dies is the day you should die. So listen to it, feel the energy, and disrupt someone.
You know something? You sound so much like Vijay Shekhar of Paytm. He's come here like twice or thrice now, and he's in love with you two. He can't stop talking about it. So keep that child alive. This one's Live to Rise. This morning to recommend a song that he would like to hear on Good Morning. From Ameyo, one of the co-founders, Sachin Bhatia, Executive Vice President, co-founder. Sachin, we were talking about how Ameyo is absorbed with the task of easing communication between the company and the customer. But yet somehow, and while we know this is the golden rule, customer is king, we need to start making customer happy, get the communication lines open, talk to him or her, yet somehow that's the hardest thing for organizations. And I've seen this even with New Age, and I gave you illustrations at a beauty parlor the other day. I simply walked out when I wasn't getting the service, and not because I was miffed or angry. I'm like, I don't need to put up with this because I know I have options. Similarly with a certain car rental company, 5 phone calls to them, no responding. I am getting another app on my phone. Customers are not waiting anymore. So why, even when it's a new age business like a car rental company, right, an aggregator, they come in knowing this is what this new marketplace is about, this is what this new customer, why is it so hard for them?
So Chris, we are living in extremely exciting times. If we ask our parents how they used to interact with businesses, my mom would have been happy standing in a queue at a bank just to get a checkbook.
It was normal, yeah.
But today, you and I, 5 minutes delay here or there, the expectations are going through the roof, which is a great news for new age entrepreneurs because there are customers who are unhappy. And it's a great news for businesses who really want to focus on customers because they can make a difference. We are talking about it right now. I think the challenge is when you're trying to focus on too many segments, I want to be the fastest, the cheapest, the best, you're not able to serve any of them. So businesses which are focusing on their niche, which are focusing on a segment of customers and making sure that my service for that segment is going to be the best, I think they will end up getting more customers than organizations which are trying to do everything for everyone. And future for consumers is very exciting. You will see disruption across industries. We have just seen scratching of the surface with cabs and retails and insurance, banks. Those are businesses that will get disrupted. Why is it so hard? Because the customer support is so siloed from the core business today.
Okay.
And that's what our technology tries to solve for the business.
All right. Okay, we're going to come back, talk some more with Sachin Bhatia from Ameyo. Stick around. That question of customer satisfaction, of dealing with the customer to full 100% is still a gap that needs to be plugged. As I've just explained, there's still banking experiences that are less than satisfactory. Each of us knows as we go out and about, time is of essence. Time is the most precious commodity, and we're all hanging on to our precious commodity. How do we get organizations to do the same thing? We're going to come back, talk some more with Sachin Bhatia right here on Good Morning Delhi. Rapture, it's 9:44. Good morning. Welcome to the show. And my conversation with Sachin Bhatia, one of the co-founders of Ameyo, started in 2003. He was just 23 when he hopped onto that entrepreneurial bandwagon. But before I get into the whole story and the conversation about entrepreneurship, which is so hot lately, it just seems to be, going on and on its own strength. Let's talk about, you said you've been traveling a lot, Sachin, as part of your work. 37 countries, you've notched a lot of miles, and you find that this whole customer satisfaction thing, the whole servicing of clients, is true for most part of the world, right? Leaving aside the West, a good part of the world is going through the same game as India, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is happening, like say in Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, you're talking about countries in the Middle East as well, and the Far East. What are they also encountering?
So I think what has started happening is two things. First of all, the consumers have started realizing that they could be served better right, because of the available information on mobile.
Yeah.
The second is the young entrepreneurs in those countries have started realizing that we could serve customers better, and hence they are disrupting large businesses. The example that I gave you, for example, Kenya was the fastest to adopt mobile money, right? Even faster than the West, faster than India, because it was a very real problem, and it started as an entrepreneur within a large company, and then it got commercialized. So we're living in exciting times in that regards. If you as an entrepreneur can find a real problem that you see around you, you can disrupt a large business which will find it extremely hard to solve that problem.
I'm going to come around to that question of entrepreneurship and about how you find what it is that you should be doing. Disruption is the name of the game. But I want to talk about, what's happening with Ameyo. How do you guys, because you're also in the servicing game, you have your clients, so you are very aware of the pitfalls. How do you ensure that you don't fall into that pit as well?
Great question, Chris. So it's still early days for Ameyo. We are about 350 people, but we started realizing that if we grow too big, then we also face the danger of disruption.
Yeah.
So one of the philosophies and theories that we built was that we should build startups that can disrupt us. Right?
Okay.
So it's better me than you.
Okay.
So we've started saying that once we find a niche problem, we'll float another group of people who will try to disrupt that space. That might actually end up disrupting our core business, but that would mean we would find a niche. So one of the examples is we've just launched a program for startups which are trying to solve consumer problems and saying we will give our technology which will enable them to serve their customers like large companies or better than them free of cost.
Okay.
If they end up growing, we win a large customer.
Okay.
If a large company starts responding to what they're doing, then we have a new customer, right?
Okay.
So it's a win-win in either
every
case.
time. So you're going about your business. Every time you find that there's a particular problem which is better served by a core group of people,
Yep.
you get them going on that task, and that way you're still going on your trajectory, and they're forming a new one.
Absolutely, and remember that every business, when they start as a startup, is their most exciting time. So why would you want to get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
You would always want to work in a startup as an entrepreneur. So build more startups within a larger company, and that will help you disrupt yourself and the larger business in general.
Disruption, that's the name of the game. Are you a disruptor? That's the question that you want to ask yourself this morning. We're going to come back. Last bits of conversation with Sachin Bhatia of Ameyo.
We're back to the music. Here we go.
Rise, it's a pick from Sachin Bhatia, my guest this morning from Ameyo. Disruptor, thy name is entrepreneur. That's how it's looking like. Any big organization that cannot seem to keep up, cannot seem to solve a problem that keeps coming up is what the startup is going to do, right?
Absolutely.
And which is why it's a warning to any organization that's getting too big to handle things to start looking at ways in which they can, or for any startup, any entrepreneur out there to start recognizing those areas and start answering that call. What would you say about entrepreneurship? You adopted it at the age of 23. And look at you, you don't seem to be showing any signs of stopping. You're heading to the United States now to disrupt in their backyard.
So I think what I mentioned earlier about you being a kid, asking questions, being curious, entrepreneurs will always ask the silliest of questions and then finding new answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something that's really bothering you, and that something cannot be that I'm not making enough money, right?
Yeah.
It has to be a problem that you really feel exists in the world, and you think you believe that that problem can be solved by doing things differently. You're an entrepreneur. It's just a question of you jumping, gathering resources, and solving that problem. And to large businesses, I think every large business that we know of today will get disrupted. Either they will themselves disrupt it, or a young entrepreneur will come.
That's what Google is doing, right? When they went and called and became Alphabet.
Absolutely. So even a company like Google, which has been one of the most innovative companies,
Mm-hmm.
they had to come up with a model where they could continue to disrupt by making smaller focus groups
Mm-hmm.
and solving problems. We also learned that as a small company. So remember that there'll always be problems that you can solve. Find a problem that you feel strongly about and go after it with the kitchen sink, and you will disrupt a large company.
All right, okay, I wish you bon voyage. You're heading out west to be a disruptor. Shisha ban gaya, guru and all of that, right?
Thanks, Chris, and love your show.
Thank you.
Really keep disrupting.
Yeah.
Don't stop disrupting. Yeah, I think that's what will take this society and India forward.
Who's going to disrupt us? We'll have to see. Wow, okay, it's good to actually ask these questions, right? It's good to be on the ball. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Sachin. I wish you all the best. We're going to come back with more music on Good Morning Delhi. I got Foreigner coming up on the other side with Say You Will.